this is Patty the Leather Lady once again with another video. Okay, so I did two videos sort of back to back. So we're talking about a jerk needle in both situations. So if you haven't seen how to replace horn stitching, like if your stitching on your horn is coming apart, go ahead, in the description below is that video. But today what I want to show you with the jerk needle, so if you're replacing sheepskin or working with sheepskin at all on anything and you're doing things by hand, this is going to help you immensely. Let me tell you, I wish I would have known about this long time ago, because when you're doing sheepskin by hand, say you're refleecing a saddle, which you're replacing the underside of the saddle, and if you're using the two needle approach, oh my Lord Jesus, you cannot find that hole for anything, right? So this jerk needle is going to create the solution for that. It's going to go a lot faster, a lot easier, and you can use it on anything, especially like what we do too. We have machines like Big Bertha behind me. However, if you're doing everything by hand, not everybody has one of these big machines. So if you're doing it by hand, you can do it by hand. If you're going to put a like sheepskin on your nose band, Western style nose band for your halters or your bridles, if you're going to add sheepskin to say saddle pad that you like, you could do that with that. All kinds of things that you can do with sheepskin. And we have a lot of good sheepskin, merino sheepskin that is 1 inch thick. It's a medical grade. We also have different colors of sheepskin, so go on our website and look for that. That's in the link below as well. So let's get started on the jerk needle. Okay, I'm going to move over to my table and I've got it set up for a sample so that you can see how it's done. So let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is a jerk needle. What's a jerk needle, guys? So a jerk needle is this little guy here. I'm going to set back a little bit. But it is also a cobbler. Cobblers use them a lot. People with shoes use them a lot. They can also be called a hook needle. They can also be called a cobbler's needle. So depending on how you research them, you can find them. This one is a nice, inexpensive one that you can get either through our website or somewhere else online, but you want to get them on our website, don't you? Anyway, so why is it called a jerk needle? Because if you look at it really close, it has a hook. I'm going to turn that so you can see that. It's got a hook, so it's almost like a crochet needle, knitting needle, you know, that kind of a thing. And this here, also you can change this out, where you can put a bigger needle or a smaller needle, and you just put it back in and turn it. Now again, this is an inexpensive one, and then it's all locked in there. But you can really gotta lock it in there tight. But they might move just slightly. However, this is a more inexpensive one. This one here that we sell comes with 3 different needle sizes, okay? So that is a jerk needle. That's what we're going to be working with. What else do you need when you're using a jerk needle? Depending on what you're going to be working on. So if you watch the horn video, that we used either, I think, a 200 or a 207. But what we have today, oops, I'm going to pull this and hopefully it doesn't move the camera, is the 207. I have some 200, I think, somewhere down there. But we're going to use this 207 thread. This is a thread that you can use on your sewing machine now. Like I said, jerk needles come in different sizes. So if you're working on a small project, like a backpack or something like that, probably a 92 thread, nice nylon 92 thread. It is a little bit slippier than this, but you want a really nice look. Okay, so when you're working with, say, refleecing a saddle, I would definitely use a 200 or a 207. So we're going to reference this to if you were refleecing a saddle, but please know you can use this for multiple uses, okay? So you need the thread. You need some type of scissors. I threw my scissors somewhere, but some type of scissors. These are shears. These are leather shears if you need to trim, kind of a thing. or snippers. You can have little snippers. You may need an awl. Depending on how you're going to put your holes in your leather, you can use an awl, you can use a lacing chisel, you can use, there's lacing chisels, there's round hole chisels, that kind of a thing, depending on what you need, okay? And if you're using fleece, say you're doing a refleecing, you're going to need some type of barge or cement. I use this for a lot, okay, because you want to glue those pieces down before you sew. You can also use a double-sided tape if you're using something small. However, if you're doing that around the edges, that center piece is not going to glue flat. So just remember that. And you might need a box knife for whatever reason, for cutting or shaping or whatever it is that you're working. I use the box knife on the end for sure, 100%. And I also use the shears, but if you also are working with your sheepskin for refleecing of a saddle, you could also, if you have clippers, you can do a nice electric clipper around the edges, and it goes a lot faster and smoother than the shears. I've always used the shears. I'm old school. You know, if I don't have to buy a new tool, I don't, but when there's a new tool I really want, I go buy it. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera and I'm going to show you the technique. It is super easy, and you're just going to love it. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to stop this for a second, move the camera. Okay, so I'm going to use my trusty vise, as I have told many times and in videos where you want to save a penny. I call it Patty's penny pinching corner. If you don't have a stitching pony, you can always use a vise. If you have a shop vise, works great. I love it. So the thing is, with the shop vise, you're going to want to put a piece of leather on both sides to protect your leather piece of whatever you're working on. I don't care about the sheepskin on that side so much. However, if I'm doing something for you guys and you're paying for it, I will put sheepskin on both sides. However, I don't use a stitching pony hardly at all. So what you're going to do is make sure you're all tightened in there. Okay. And you're not going to tighten it so hard that you're going to put an impression in on this guy. You just want to hold it firm because we're going to be using the stitching needle. Okay. Let me see if I can keep this so we're not dragging. So what I did is I cut a piece of thread, and what I'm going to do is just like if you were going to be sewing anything else, you're going to want them both on the equal side of each other. So you're going to want them both this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our jerk needle, and I sure hope I can do this so that you guys can see it. So if you've already punched your holes, now if you haven't punched holes here, that's going to be your first step. So you're going to have to, on your leather side, have the holes. Now, if you're refleecing a saddle, you're going to have the holes, but you better make sure that you've taken every piece of thread out of those holes. You cannot put thread on top of thread. You will create yourself a big headache. So make sure your holes are all nice and clean and empty before you even get started. And I don't worry about trimming my sheepskin, no matter what it is, until the very end. Can it be a pain? Yes, sheepskin can be a pain. However, when it's done, it looks beautiful. It's great. Now, if you need to buy sheepskin pelts, we do sell those as well. Definitely, if you need those. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to take our jerk needle and we're going to push it all the way through. And I might have to make these. It's been a while since I actually prepped this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my awl and make those holes bigger for the moment. This, let me tell you, you live with this in your hand. When you're doing leather work, not so much like tooling and stuff, but so you're going to take this and put it through. Now this is a bigger needle. I'm just being gentle, okay? And if you see on this back side here, it's just coming through, right? This is why I love this, because I don't have to search and find. If you've got 2 needles, you're like, where's that hole? Oh, I got to keep pushing. I do not make holes in the back side of my sheepskin because the sheepskin is super, super thin, and I can go ahead and push through with that pretty easy. Okay, but you're seeing this, and the hook is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of hold this tight. Doesn't matter on this side what, you know, as far as, you know, what length on each side is. Just a second here. Where is my hook? So I got to find the hook here. Turn your needle so you can see it. There it is. What is that noise? Okay. So you're bringing it through the other side. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull just one of those strings through. So now you've got 1 string on each side. All right? Now this is where you want to make sure that they're equal. Okay? So this is the part that's going to be just the same as working on a saddle if you were going back and forth. Okay, just going to make those holes a little bit bigger so you can see. So what you're going to do first off, on this second stitch, you're going to push the needle through again. Now, if I'm doing this on a saddle, this would be glued. It's not glued. I didn't take the time to glue it, okay? So it's coming through again on this back side. And there's the hook there. I don't need to push it very far, but this is where you're going to make a loop. Just like if you were doing a, you know, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember the old shag rugs that we used to do. And this is the exact same thing. You could probably, if they weren't so big, use a shag rug needle on this thing. Okay, so you're going to pull it through. Now you've got a loop there. You're still going to pull it through. I'm going to try to hold this. And you've got a loop. Now, it's not locked. If you were to pull this all the way through, it's not locked. You need to pull this top string through, and now you lock it. You see how that's happening? And it locks. Now you want to pull it tight. Now I could pull it this way, and then the knot is on this side. I could pull it really hard and put the knot on the other side. But when you're working on saddle work, you want it to be in the center. So I'm going to make sure that's in the center. I'm going to pull it taut, and you still have thread on both sides. Okay? So as you do this, we're going to do the next one. You're just going to go through the top side. You're going to go through the sheepskin just like before. Now, if you were doing this on a saddle, it's going to go super fast. I'm just doing this slow for you guys to see. You're going to make a loop. You're going to catch that hook. Okay? Catch the hook. You're going to pull it through. And sometimes, yes, you are going to miss the hoop. Okay? I'm going to pull it through. I need a bigger hole. I got a loop. Now you do want to untwist it. You don't want it to be all twisted and then do it. You want a nice even, and then I'm going to pull that thread through and pull, and that's it. So this top part, it looks going to look really, really nice. And all you're doing is going through, looping, pull through, put the thread through. And as you do it more and more and more, it's just and you're done. Okay? So, and yes, do you want to make holes on the sheepskin? If you want to take the time to, I don't have the time to when I'm doing, you know, maybe 6 or 7 saddles at one time, okay? I just want to be able to get it done and get it not, okay? So let me show you. And when you watch the restitching a horn. I'm just going to show you on the other side. We're just going to pull it through. See how it twisted? I'm going to untwist it. And you are going to have sheepskin come through. Just pull that sheepskin back out. You don't want that coming through the top. You will have to get a little tweezers, pull it out and everything, because it is annoying. Like this little piece here. You do not, because it ruins the aesthetic look when you're all done. And that's what happens when you use the double needle. And I see it on saddles all the time. They use the double needle or they use the sewing machine, but then they don't fluff it back out and you've got all this tight. Well, when you have the tight sheepskin, then what happens is, when you have the tight sheepskin, what happens is you've got the stitch here, you've got fluff out here, and you've got tight in here. So you're adding more pressure for the parts that are not fluffed out because that's compressed in. So when you're doing any stitch with sheepskin, please make sure that you go in and fluff it out. Just take your fingers and fluff it out. Boom. You don't even see the stitch on that side. But some people don't, and it's really, really annoying to me because I can show you what to do in another video. Sorry, my thumb is in the way there. But I can show you in another video how to make that flat without even pulling on it and stressing it and making the stitchings loose or anything like that. It's a little trick I have that a lot of people don't know. But let's get back to doing a few more stitches and then I will show you how to tie it off. All right, let's go. So, where'd my needle go? Okay, so we're gonna put it in. I'm just gonna work it a little bit and you can watch me work. And I'm on the other side and I use my hand, one hand, I loop it. I wish I had two cameras. I really do, so you could see it. I loop it, then I just take this, make the loop big, pull it through, tighten, okay? Then I do it again, I push it through. Then I take this, I make a loop, I put it around there. Sometimes your needle, now, hang on a second, let me get this one through. The thing is on the back side. Pull it through and untwist, bring the thread through. Now, okay. Sometimes on your needles, make sure that you've got the right size needle for the hole, because if you're using a lacing chisel, you're going to have a long hole. You're not going to have a round hole. And so when you have a lacing chisel, let me see if I can show one. Hang on a second. Let me show you. Okay. So what I did is I punched a few lacing chisel holes in here for you. So see how these are rounded and you're going to put, you really want to watch to make your hook, if you're going to be fast, you want to make your hook up. You don't want it down. You don't want it. But if you're doing this and say you've got little holes, you've got to be really careful because if this is round, these are sort of flat. So you want to make sure your needle goes in there correctly so that when you pull it out, you're not ripping the leather or ripping the thing. So watch which way you're putting in your needles when you put them in, okay? So we want to put it the hook side up and we're just going to put it in. And again, it's a little bit difficult when we have the sheepskin because of there is no holes on the back side. But it's not hard. It's super, and some sheepskin is a lot thinner than other sheepskin. So it just depends on where you're buying your sheepskin. And the sheepskin can be called a shearling. It can be called, you know, lambskin. It can be called whatever, depending on where. Oh, what did I do? Did I screw up? It's possible. Because I took this off. I'm not going to pull that out just in case I didn't screw up. But let me see here. Nope, I didn't. I just need to pull this off to the side. But see, I've got my little leather piece there to protect it, even though it's just a piece of scrap. I'm just going to hold it down below, you know, a little bit low. I just don't want it making an impression on that leather. You would do that also with your stitching ponies too, to protect your leather, especially if you dyed something or if you tooled something and you're doing this, okay? So I got my little bit of sheepskin on that side. I'm gonna pull it out and make it that way. Go ahead and do that. And there we go. All right, so I'm just gonna finish these holes out and I'm gonna show you how to finish it off at the end, all right? One thing you do not want to do, I almost did it, is you do not want to twist it and pull it through. It will rip your thread, okay? Big do not do. Okay, I'm going to show you here. Whoops, let's go ahead and do this. Do not just twist it around your thing and pull. You will catch your hook on a piece of thread and you're going to rip it, and then you're going to have a really weak thread. You want to make sure you do a loop, no matter how big or small it is, just a quick little loop. Okay? This is so much easier than trying to find the hole. I mean, oh my gosh, it used to be a nightmare, guys. But this is how I do it if I go to replace. However, I have Big Bertha now. Oops. So I don't usually do hand. I'm having to put my brace back on, guys. My back's not doing very good. Loop. Find your... I try to clean as much sheepskin away as possible because otherwise it comes through this hole. So see how fast this is compared to the other way? Oh my gosh, this is just... Okay, we're into these. Go ahead. These are going to be super easy because they're so big. Do you want to make your holes that big? That's up to you. You know, if you want that look of a hole, then go ahead. But on a saddle that you're refleecing, the holes are already there. Do one more and then I'll show you how to tie off. Get out of there, sheepskin. There we go. Okay, say you're at the end, or if you've ran out of thread, okay? That happens a lot where you're gonna run out of thread and you need to add a little bit more thread, okay? So you've got, say you're about this big or whatever, or you're at the end and you wanna fix this. So all you're gonna do is take and pull the, like you're going to put it through each side. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the other side, So I'm going to go through the other side. I'm going to do it like I was going to come through the whole thing, but I'm going to stop in the middle. Okay. But I'm going to end up in the middle. I don't want it to come through. So you can use a regular needle if you wanted to. But I am going to just have it come through the middle. And I'm going to pull that thread, because you don't want the knots to be seen. Now, this is sheepskin. You could do it on the back side and just tie it off on the back. That's up to you, okay? So then we're gonna take that back side and put a hole in there. So we got one there. It doesn't matter where the hole is. You just want to get in there. And you're going to pull that back side through. You're going to loop it like you were just going to do another stitch. Oops. Make a loop. Pull it through. But you're coming to the middle. Okay, you can do that and then just pull it through the middle. Okay, so you're going to have both strings, oh my gosh, in the middle. Okay. And then you're going to tie off inside. It's so dry here. We haven't had rain for so long. Everything is just sticking to me. You're going to tie it off with a square knot. You're going to make sure your knots are in the center. I do 3 or 4 of them just to make sure. Then this is where my little nippers come in. Cut, cut, and there you go. Now you know how to use a jerk needle. Now, and then I go to the back. If I'm doing sheepskin again, I fluff it up, and there it is. Now, if this was a saddle, then I would be taking. If I'm doing a saddle, this would be a lot. I would have to. It would be up higher. I would trim the edge, and then I would. Boom. That's it. But today is only about the jerk needle. So. I hope that was helpful to you, and if you want to go see the video on the saddle horn, it's in the link below. If you'd like to order a jerk needle, please go to our website, theleatherladyllc.com. We also have a new channel on YouTube. Please go to that. You're going to see more saddle repair and restoration videos over there. The Leather Lady LLC channel is going to be more for leather craft and smaller projects, but there's a lot of people that just want to see saddle repair and restoration. So look up the Leather Lady LLC Saddle Repair and Restoration YouTube. Just type in Leather Lady Saddle Repair and Restoration and it'll pop up. Please join that channel so that I know if people are enjoying videos on there. It's very new, so there's not very many subscribers, but please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and go to our website, theleatherladyllc.com, and we'll see you on the next video.